What if I told you that everything you thought you knew about love, about attraction, about the way women think, was only half the truth? What if I told you that the very struggles you're facing right now, the confusion, the heartbreak, the moments when you feel completely lost, are not signs of failure, but the very key to mastering relationships on a level most men never reach? The hidden dynamics of female psychology are not about tricks, games, or manipulation. They are about understanding a deeper truth that few men ever take the time to see. Right now, you're at a crossroads. You can continue feeling frustrated, wondering why things aren't working, why you keep getting the same results, or you can take control. You can learn the truth, apply it, and become the kind of man who is unshakable in love and in life. The choice is yours. If you're ready to shift your perspective and unlock the knowledge that will change everything, hit the like button, subscribe and turn on notifications, and comment below, "I control my emotions, not the world." Number 1. Women love the feeling you create, not just who you are. Most men misunderstand what truly attracts a woman. They believe that if they look good enough, make enough money, or have the right personality traits, being funny, kind, charming, they'll automatically be loved. But that belief is deeply flawed. Because women do not fall in love with your looks, your wallet, or even your polite behavior. They fall in love with the emotional storm you awaken inside them, with the feeling they associate with being around you. Think about it. If women were truly drawn to surface-level traits, then every good, wealthy and agreeable man would be drowning in love. But reality tells a different story. Many nice guys are overlooked. Meanwhile, men who don't necessarily have model looks or massive bank accounts still draw intense attention. Why? Because they know how to make a woman feel, not through words, not through gifts, but through energy, unpredictability, contrast and emotional intensity. A woman remembers how you made her feel more than what you said, what you wore, or even what you did. She remembers the tension when you leaned in closer, the suspense when you didn't reply instantly, the butterflies when you looked at her without saying a word. She remembers how alive she felt, how uncertain and excited and slightly off balance she became in your presence. That's what sticks. That's what she craves. The emotional blueprint you create becomes your true value in her eyes. If you're always calm, always predictable, always available, you become part of the furniture, reliable but invisible. But if you can bring her into a space where she's slightly off guard, constantly wondering what's next, you've carved your name into her nervous system. Let's go deeper. In psychology, emotions form memory. That's why you remember your first heartbreak or the thrill of a childhood adventure so vividly, because emotion cements the memory. When you create that emotional signature within a woman, be it tension, anticipation, humor, or even challenge, you become unforgettable. But here's where most men go wrong. They focus on logic. They think if they explain themselves well, if they prove they're reliable, if they always show up on time and respond quickly, then they're being good men. And maybe they are, but they're not memorable men. They're not the kind of men who live rent-free in her mind. A woman doesn't sit alone replaying facts. She replays moments where she felt something she couldn't name. The smirk you gave her before walking away, the silence after an intense conversation, the way you looked into her eyes and didn't speak, letting the moment stretch. These are the anchors of attraction, not your resume, not your generosity. Now, let's bring in the Stoic mindset. A Stoic man doesn't base his value on external validation. He doesn't dress a certain way or behave a certain way just to be liked. He's not chasing attention, he's cultivating presence. He understands that the true source of his power lies in his ability to influence the emotional space around him, not just to follow rules. That means being intentional with your energy, speaking when necessary, listening deeply, being unpredictable, not in a manipulative way, but in a way that shows you are not seeking her approval. That is what builds mystery. That is what generates emotional pull. That is what women call chemistry when they can't quite explain it. A man who controls the emotional experience of the interaction through tension, pauses, playfulness, or a sudden withdrawal becomes the center of her attention. He doesn't need to ask for love. He becomes the source of the feeling she associates with love. And here's the key. Once she associates you with a specific feeling, that feeling becomes the addiction, not necessarily you as a person. That's why women sometimes return to toxic relationships. It's not that they love the man, they're addicted to the emotional high and low that relationship provides. If you don't understand this, you'll be replaced by someone who creates a more intense emotional experience, even if he's worse by every logical standard. In the end, remember this. Men are remembered by the emotion they leave behind, not the words they say. So stop trying to convince her why she should like you. Make her feel why she can't let you go. Number 2. The more you chase, the less she feels. Why over-attention destroys attraction. There's a paradox at the heart of modern dating that most men never learn until it's too late. The more you chase a woman, the less she feels for you. It sounds cruel, unfair even, especially in a culture that teaches men to be expressive, communicative, and emotionally available. But human attraction doesn't operate on fairness. It operates on instinct, tension, and psychological polarity. And nothing kills those faster than being too available, too predictable, and too eager. When you chase a woman, constantly texting, calling, complimenting, adjusting your life to make space for her, you think you're showing love. You think you're demonstrating commitment and care. But what you're really doing is removing all mystery, all uncertainty, all challenge. And once those are gone, so is the emotional thrill that made her feel something for you in the first place. Women don't fall in love with convenience. They fall in love with intrigue, with emotional tension, with the feeling of not quite having you yet. This isn't about playing games, it's about understanding how human desire works. When you're always available, always responsive, and always saying yes, she doesn't feel excitement, she feels safe. And while safety is important in a long-term sense, it doesn't ignite the spark. It doesn't keep her awake at night thinking about you. Let's make this simple. Attraction thrives in space. It needs distance. It needs the unknown. When you're chasing, you're eliminating all of that. You're making her the prize and yourself the pursuer. And deep down she knows that if she doesn't respond, you'll still be there. That predictability breeds complacency, and from there attraction begins to die. From a Stoic perspective, this is a lesson in energy conservation. You do not give your presence away to anyone who hasn't earned it. You do not spend emotional energy chasing someone who hasn't shown they value it. A Stoic man values his time and attention. He does not flood the world with it. He applies it with precision, like a scalpel. And in doing so, he becomes rare, and therefore valuable. Now, this doesn't mean becoming cold, rude, or emotionally distant. It means you stop leading with desperation. You stop texting first every time. You stop reshaping your day to see her. You stop showing up at her emotional doorstep every time she breathes in your direction. Instead, you step back. You allow silence. You let her come to you. And when she does, you receive her calmly, without the hunger of a man starving for affection. The problem with chasing is that it reveals your hand too early. It tells her you already have me, and once she knows that, her unconscious mind checks out. It's no longer a journey, it's no longer exciting. She knows the ending. She knows she can get your attention with minimal effort. That predictability is comforting, but comfort is the enemy of passion. Ironically, when you stop chasing, women often become more interested. They begin to wonder what you're thinking, what you're doing, who you're seeing. That mystery creates tension, and that tension pulls her back in. But the moment you give her all the answers, when you start flooding her with attention again, she relaxes and the intensity disappears. Men chase because they think it shows strength. But chasing is not strength. Chasing is fear wearing the mask of love, fear of losing her, fear of being alone, fear that if you don't constantly remind her of your presence, she'll forget about you. But the truth is, if she forgets about you that easily, she was never really thinking about you to begin with. So remember, don't chase, don't plead, don't over-explain. Hold your ground, protect your energy, and become the man she wants to chase, not the man always chasing her. Number 3. Women don't want nice. They want unshakable strength. One of the most dangerous lies fed to modern men is this: if you're nice, respectful, and always agreeable, women will love you. But reality says otherwise. Time and again, the so-called nice guys find themselves ghosted, friend-zoned, or abandoned for men who seem less safe but infinitely more magnetic. Why? Because women are not drawn to softness, they're drawn to strength, and not physical strength but inner strength. Emotional power, psychological presence, the unshakable energy of a man who cannot be moved by external forces. The problem with being nice is that most of the time it's not genuine. It's a performance. It's a disguise for fear. A man who bends to avoid conflict, who agrees with everything she says, who apologizes for his existence just to stay liked. He's not being kind, he's being compliant. And no woman respects compliance, because respect doesn't grow where there is no resistance. Respect is forged in the presence of boundaries. You see, the truly attractive man isn't the one who seeks approval. He's the one who lives according to his values. He's not cruel, but he's firm. He's not aggressive, but he's immovable. He doesn't try to win her over with gifts or compliments or endless validation. He lets her come to him, and he stays grounded whether she stays or walks away. That's not arrogance, that's sovereignty. And women crave it more than words can express. A woman doesn't want to emotionally dominate you. She doesn't want to feel like the man in the relationship. But if you act spineless, if you fold under pressure, if you ask for permission to exist, if you make her your sun and orbit around her every mood, you force her into that role, and she'll resent you for it. You might think you're being sweet, she'll experience it as weakness. And here's the deeper truth. A woman will test your strength, not because she's cruel, but because it's how she feels safe. She needs to know that you won't collapse when she's emotional, that you won't change your values to win her approval, that you can stand tall when she's spiraling. Because if you can hold yourself steady, maybe, just maybe, you can hold her too. Enter the Stoic man. A Stoic doesn't fear disapproval. He doesn't chase. He doesn't beg. He operates from principle. He knows that integrity is more valuable than affection, and when a woman tries to shake his frame, by pulling away, by testing his patience, by questioning his intentions, he remains centered, calm, observant, unmoved. Not because he's cold, but because he refuses to let anyone drag him out of alignment. This kind of masculine energy is rare. It stands out. It creates a gravitational pull. Women don't always understand why they're drawn to it, but they are, because it represents safety, leadership, and challenge, the very things they subconsciously crave. Let's be clear, being unshakable doesn't mean being a jerk. You don't have to belittle her. You don't have to dominate. In fact, the strongest men are usually the quietest. They let others speak first. They listen more than they talk. But when they speak, their words carry weight. They know who they are. They don't flinch when questioned. They don't beg for love. They invite it and walk away if it's not offered freely. This strength shows up in the smallest moments. When she's upset and throws emotional heat at you, you don't match her energy. You stay grounded, you let her storm pass, and you choose your words with intention. When she pushes your boundaries, you enforce them with calm, not anger. When she tries to make you prove your worth, you let silence speak. And in that stillness, she feels something rare: respect. You become the eye of the hurricane. While other men are thrown off course by her tests, her moods, her demands, you remain rooted. This doesn't just make you different, it makes you unforgettable. Why? Because every woman, whether she admits it or not, is searching for a man who is stronger than her emotions. A man who can anchor her when she feels adrift. Not someone who crumbles every time she's disappointed. Not someone who tries to buy her affection with compliments and compromises, but someone who looks her in the eyes and says, "You can come with me, but I'm going either way." That's not cruelty, that's clarity. That's not detachment, that's direction. Because at the end of the day, women don't fall for weakness dressed as kindness. They fall for the man who can't be moved, even when the whole world tries. Number 4. Love is a game of perception, not reality. One of the most overlooked truths about attraction is this: women fall in love not with who you truly are, but with who they perceive you to be. It's a game of perception, not fact. The man she loves is not necessarily the man in front of her. It's the man she imagines, romanticizes, builds in her mind based on the fragments you allow her to see. If you don't understand this, you'll play the wrong game. You'll try to be yourself too early, reveal too much too soon, and then wonder why the spark vanished. Here's what you need to understand. Her feelings are not tethered to your reality. They are tethered to the emotional narrative she creates about you. The tension, the ambiguity, the mystery, these are not accidental. They are the ingredients that fuel her emotional imagination. The moment you remove those elements, when everything becomes clear, predictable, safe, she no longer has anything to wonder about. And when she stops wondering, she stops feeling. That's why men who are too emotionally available, too quickly understood, too transparent from day one, often find themselves ghosted. They gave her what she said she wanted: honesty, openness, vulnerability, but emotionally she wasn't ready to handle that without first feeling the mystery, the high stakes, the psychological depth that fuels connection. She didn't leave because you were too open, she left because you were too known. The feminine thrives on emotional contrast. Warmth followed by coolness, presence followed by distance, intimacy followed by independence. These fluctuations are not manipulations, they're natural polarities that stimulate her emotional world. When a man can offer this rhythm, without pretending, but through genuine depth and complexity, he becomes the kind of presence that lives inside her imagination long after he's gone. This is why the bad boy archetype pulls women in, not because he's inherently more valuable, but because he's harder to pin down. He's unpredictable, emotionally textured, sometimes distant, sometimes close. She never quite knows what's coming, and that tension keeps her emotionally engaged. But a man doesn't have to be a jerk to create this effect, he simply has to protect his mystery. A Stoic man understands this. He doesn't over-explain himself. He doesn't feel the need to make everything clear. He lets her wonder, lets her fill in the blanks, and through that, he shapes the perception she forms about him, without ever forcing it. He's not manipulative, he's intentional. He understands that emotional perception drives attraction more than any list of facts ever could. Let's make this practical. If you tell her everything about your past on the second date, she has no emotional room left to explore. If you always respond immediately to every message, she no longer wonders if she's on your mind. If you consistently express your affection without variance, she doesn't feel the thrill of earning it. In your effort to be real, you remove the essential fuel of attraction: imagination. Now, let's be clear, this isn't about becoming fake or playing games. It's about recognizing that humans fall for mystery, not certainty. You don't need to create a persona, you just need to withhold the need to be completely understood. Let her experience you gradually. Let her notice patterns, but never fully predict them. Let her see depth without handing her the entire map. In other words, don't be boring. Don't be so emotionally available that she feels no need to pursue. Don't be so routine that she can write your script before you speak. Don't be so emotionally dependent that your value lives in her reaction. The best relationships are not built on complete transparency from the beginning. They're built on curiosity, layers, discovery. If she knows everything about you in week 1, what's left to explore in week 5? The men who last are not those who give it all away, but those who give just enough and hold the rest with calm, intentional restraint. And when you combine that restraint with emotional depth, when you can show her moments of vulnerability without turning it into your identity, when you let her feel safe without making her your emotional compass, you become the man she doesn't want to lose. Not because you're the nicest, not because you're the richest, but because you're the most emotionally compelling. Women don't remember clarity. They remember feeling something that didn't make sense. They remember the pauses, the shifts, the times they questioned themselves after being with you. Not because you were cruel, but because you were grounded, self-shamed, and didn't reveal everything too soon. Become the question she wants to keep answering, not the answer she gets bored of knowing. Number 5, she stays when she feels safe, not just when she feels loved. It's one of the deepest truths about the feminine psyche. A woman doesn't stay with the man who excites her the most. She stays with the man who makes her feel emotionally safe. Not safety in the traditional sense of protection from danger, but safety from emotional chaos, safety from instability, safety in knowing that the man beside her is unshaken by her storms. Many men believe that love, attraction, even intense passion are enough to sustain a relationship, and while those things are important, they are not anchors. They're waves, intense, powerful, but constantly changing. The anchor is emotional safety, and when a woman senses it, she roots herself to you. So what does that safety look like? It's the way you hold your composure when she's emotional. It's your calm when she's spiraling. It's how you respond with silence instead of shouting. It's your refusal to be dragged into drama while still staying present with her pain. It's not detachment. It's depth without entanglement. From a Stoic lens, this is the highest form of masculine presence. A Stoic man doesn't suppress emotion, but he doesn't let it run the show. He observes before reacting. He holds space before acting. He remains aligned with his values, even when emotions tempt him to deviate. In doing so, he becomes the eye of the hurricane, the one place where calm is guaranteed, no matter how intense the storm outside. Imagine this. She's overwhelmed, crying, angry, unsure of herself. She throws words at you that aren't fair. She's drowning in emotional waves. A weak man panics. He yells, he gets defensive, he tries to fix her feelings or escape them. A nice guy overcompensates. He apologizes for things he didn't do. He tiptoes, pleads, tries to calm her down with logic. But a grounded man, he breathes, he holds eye contact, he doesn't mirror her storm. He says little, but when he does, it's with clarity. He might say, "I hear you, take your time, I'm not going anywhere," or he might say nothing at all and just hold her until she softens. In that moment, she feels something most women rarely feel in the modern world, grounded in the presence of a man who doesn't collapse. This kind of emotional consistency is rare, and it's not something you fake. It's something you cultivate. It comes from knowing who you are, from training your mind to respond instead of react, from spending time in solitude so your peace doesn't depend on her behavior. When she sees that you don't flinch, don't beg, don't explode, she relaxes. Because deep down, every woman knows this. The world is full of chaos. Her emotions are chaotic. Her job might be chaotic. Social media, relationships, family, all moving parts. But if she can come home to you and find stillness, she will never want to leave. Not because you're perfect, not because you always say the right things, but because your presence heals her nervous system. And here's what most men miss. Emotional safety is not the same as being boring. It doesn't mean you never challenge her. It doesn't mean you're always agreeable. In fact, the safest men are often the most disciplined. They say no. They walk away when lines are crossed, but they do it without drama. That's what separates men who are respected from those who are merely liked. In practice, here's how you build this. You create rituals of stillness. Morning silence, deep breathing, physical training. You audit your reactions. Every time you're triggered, ask, am I reacting or responding? You hold her without trying to fix her. Most women don't want solutions when they're emotional. They want containment. You lead. You guide conversations when things get off track. You set the tone for communication. You stay, not physically but emotionally. You stay grounded in yourself, so she can find herself through your energy. A woman may be attracted to chaos, but she builds her life with stability. And the men who last, who get her heart, not just her body, are the ones who learn to be a calming force in a world that overwhelms her. So if you've ever wondered why she pulled away after weeks of excitement, or why she said, "You're great, but something's missing," this is it. What's missing is emotional safety, not surface-level affection, not romantic gestures, but that silent strength that tells her, "You're safe to unravel, because I won't." A Stoic man becomes a lighthouse. When the waves hit, he doesn't move. He shines, quietly, steadily, not to impress, but because that's who he is. And when she feels that, she stops testing, she stops running, she lets go. Because no woman walks away from a man who gives her the one thing she can't find anywhere else: peace. You started this journey thinking love was a battlefield where you were constantly losing, but now you see the truth. It was never about winning or losing. It was about understanding, about stepping beyond illusions and seeing reality as it is. The pain, the confusion, the heartbreak, they weren't roadblocks, they were lessons. And now you hold the power. No woman, no relationship, no rejection defines you. Your strength, your confidence, your ability to lead in love and in life, these were always yours. No one took them from you. They were only waiting for you to claim them. If you're ready to keep evolving, to keep building yourself into the man you were meant to be, like this video, subscribe and comment below. I am unstoppable. Stay strong. Keep moving forward. Your future waits for no one.